coming up next on In the Box Seat podcast.
Unlike other sports, I mean, Roger Federer will have a coach and he'll have a manager, you know, whereas jockeys, maybe they'll have an agent, but they won't have a coach or someone to manage them to say, hey, listen, I've noticed you doing this wrong, you know. Whereas we go and tell the apprentices, listen, you're doing this wrong, and sometimes they want to take it as being offensive then. I'm saying, no, we're just trying to point out where the mistakes were, how you can fix it, and then improve on that so it doesn't happen again.
Welcome to another edition of In the Box Seat podcast, proudly brought to you by GallopTV. Today we have a guest in the studio with us. He's been around horses since he was 3 months old. He's had an incredible journey and we can't wait to hear about it. One of the riding masters of the South African Jockey Academy, Mitch Curtis. Mitch, how are you?
Thanks, Warren. Yeah, all good.
Lovely
morning today.
Yeah, lovely to have you with us. Thank you. Raheel, are you well?
Yeah, all well, thanks, Warren. Obviously looking forward to chatting to Mitch. Know very little about him, but a few minutes that we've had here just discussing things, learned a few things about him and about his journey, and look forward to hearing more about Mitch and how he's sort of grown into racing over the years.
Absolutely. We were just talking, Mitch, about age, and Raheel says he's met you and doesn't know much about you, understandably, because we're a bit older, but
yes.
We're still looking good for our age.
I think so.
Right. I said in the intro, 3 months since you were a young baby, you've been associated with horses. Tell the public, why is that?
Well, as most of you should know, my dad was a jockey, Vincent Curtis, and back in October 1976, when I was 3 months old, he was offered the position at the South African Jockeys Academy under Cyril Buckham.
Okay.
And the timing suited him and he decided to take up the challenge, and so he started at the academy, and we moved there in October, and I was there for 25 years before I decided to start traveling.
1963 or in early days, the academy was at Marion Hill.
That's correct, yes.
Tell us about that, because obviously it's now at Summerveld, but that was where it really started.
It started, yes, in Marion Hill, and my dad was there in 63. That's where he started. And suppose at one point they were looking towards a future and bigger and better place, and that's when the academy decided to move to Summerveld.
The start, was it always inevitable that you were going to be riding horses, going to be with horses, or was there a chance that the industry might have lost you to another trade?
I don't think so. My mother rode work in Cape Town, and she rode in ladies' races and amateur races there, and my father was riding there, and that's where they actually met, through Garth Puller, actually.
Okay.
Now, Garth Puller was actually my dad's kit boy.
Jeez.
And so, when they moved to the academy, we had ponies, and my dad was involved with the racing, and my mother had the ponies, so myself, my brother, and my sister, we all started riding ponies, and that's where we all started.
Interesting. Was it an easy thing having to? Obviously your dad was well known in the industry, and was it sort of like easy having to live up to some sort of reputation?
Well, definitely. Even I kind of have to watch what I say a bit. I feel, especially like on making comments on forums and things, because I know people are going to look at my surname.
Yes.
They'll associate with me with my dad. But he's been an excellent role model in the racing industry, and seeing the sort of people that he produced. Yeah. It's never easy for someone to live up to those expectations, to try and produce what he has in his era.
Let's talk about mom and dad then, Vincent and Lorna Curtis, because they deserve their airtime, and we'll talk about mom and what she did at the academy, etc. But let's start with dad. Phenomenal jockey, phenomenal coach, phenomenal teacher, phenomenal human being, and just a huge asset to the industry.
Yes, well, he definitely put in a lot of work, and back then he was very strict. Yeah. And I started getting to know the apprentices back in 1990, I think it was, when Paul Devlin, Greg Cheen all joined the academy, and they didn't go home on weekends. So I used to spend weekends with them. We were watching races on Saturdays or Sundays, playing PlayStations, and then I'd join them for their riding lessons on Saturday afternoons or something, you know. So that's sort of where it started for me.
You mentioned strict. That's important because you need a bit of, not a bit, you need discipline in this industry, don't you?
Definitely, and I mean, even to this day, the legend Douglas White still calls my father Mr. Curtis, you know, which I think that's great. And where some, you know, you get other younger people who want to start throwing first names around, which I think is a sign of disrespect. And I mean, you need to be respectful in this game. You know, there's a lot of people here. There's always someone that knows more than you, or someone that can teach you something.
Sure.
You've had an incredible journey, and we do jump around a bit, and that's fine. But tell us about your working journey. And let's go back to 1996. You started, your first hop was to Macau, is that right?
Yes, well, actually, I did show jumping.
Okay.
But then shortly after turning junior at 14, I got a lovely Anglo-Arab, and my riding teacher kept praising how well he would be at dressage. And I had no interest in doing dressage.
Sure.
So eventually we leased the horse out to a friend, and the horse went on to win the Royal Show 2 years in a row with her. Then the horse came back and my sister rode my horse, which then won the Royal Show again for the third time.
Sure.
So while I was sitting at home, my dad came home one day and he said, listen, in 3 months' time there's a work riders race. Do you want to ride in that?
Yeah.
Sure, why not? We'll give that a go. So I started riding some horses at the academy, and then my first morning at Summerfelt we came to ride for Tony Finesse,
Sure.
who my father actually rode for, and Wendy Whitehead was the assistant to. So my first 2 horses that morning I went with my dad on the track.
That must have been very special.
Yeah, it is. It was a great feeling. You know, having to ride with my dad for the person that he actually rode for.
Yeah. Sorry, I interrupted you, so continue.
And then, so then I finished high school, rode in a couple work riders races in town, did 1 year of college, and then I decided I wanted to go overseas. And at the time there were a few South Africans in Macau, and the money was quite good, so I applied and I got in. Unfortunately, when I got there were no South Africans there at the time. So I mean, it was a bit of a big leap going that far away from home, and the time difference in trying to phone home. And I decided after 4 months, nah, I didn't like the racing there, I'd come back. So then I came back. I spent another 2 years just relaxing, riding work a bit for Tony Finesse, Clodagh Shaw, Johnny Dawson, Mark Miller, and I actually went and worked in an engineering firm for 6 months with my brother in Pinetown. And one day I just had enough of that and just walked out. I decided, nope, I'll go back to racing. And then in 1999, GallopTV helped me get a sponsor in America. So off I went to Kentucky, and I rode for stable there, Nilo Callahan, for 2 years. And I mean, it was a great experience. I love American racing. I mean, the atmosphere before the Kentucky Derby and the Breeders' Cup, you know, you're basically pushing yourself and your horse through reporters to try and get to the track.
Nice.
It's just phenomenal. And then I finished my student visa there, and I got a work permit approved, but the American embassy here in Durban wouldn't give me a visa.
Okay, jeez.
So then I just got stuck here, and I was about to go to Singapore then. I decided I want to go somewhere else. And then Robbie Fred actually told my dad, listen, they're employing expats now in Hong Kong. Why don't you come here? Michael De Beer was there, Herman van der Westhuizen. So Robbie Fred actually helped me get into Hong Kong, and I went there in 2001. And then I spent 4 years riding there. And then I'd heard such good things about Dubai. There were a lot of South Africans I knew that were there. I thought, nope, let me go give this a try. And I went over to Dubai, and as I said, lots of the Billy Jacobson, Sherman Brown, Danny McCready, Christopher Taylor, you know, Denisha Smith, they were all there. So it was great having a lot of friends around and doing things with. But it was so hot there. I was there for the summer, and I found Dubai a bit boring with what you can do. You know, there were like 3 shopping centres, and it's not like you can go hiking through the forest for waterfalls or cycling. It's very artificial.
It's not like how it is nowadays.
No. I mean, it keeps expanding.
Yeah.
But still, you know, there aren't forests you can go and hike at, and certain beaches you're allowed to take your shirt off, and certain beaches you're allowed to drink at, and certain beaches men can't go. And there were a lot of restrictions with that.
Yeah.
But so then I went back to Hong Kong. So I did 4 years in Hong Kong, then 4 months in Dubai. Then I went back to Hong Kong. I rode work there and worked at the start for another 6 years before being offered the position as riding instructor with the apprentice school there. And then I worked there for 12 years in that position.
Sure.
And then I decided it was time to move back home.
That is an incredible journey.
I was just thinking to myself, man's been around the world, and he's been to, most of the major racing jurisdictions in the world, obviously, probably bar in Australia and.
I actually took a horse to Australia for the Cox Plate for David Hayes, and I took a horse for Tony Cruz, who I also worked for the Dubai World Cup. So I got to travel and experience those race days as well.
That?
Oh, it was excellent. I mean, going to Australia, they try and keep the grass tracks as good condition there.
Yeah.
And coming from Hong Kong, where they love the tracks good to firm because they like the fast times, it felt a bit soft for me.
Yes.
But I mean, seeing the tracks, and I mean, that Moonee Valley is incredible. I thought Greyville and Happy Valley were tight, but Moonee Valley, you're like constantly trying to turn. So I mean, it's a track you really need to know. It's a tricky track to ride at. But I mean, seeing and being around those top horses and traveling with them, it's a great experience.
Which horse would you say has been, like, if you had to list 3 horses that you worked with in your time in Australia and Hong Kong and Macau? I mean, even in Dubai, I mean, do you have a top 3 horses that you worked with?
Obviously, I rode Silent Witness in the mornings.
Yeah.
And for his 17 straight wins.
Sure.
And actually, I left after his 17th win to go to Dubai, and nothing to do with me, obviously, but he was beaten next time out.
He was missing his friend. Mitch.
So, I mean, he was definitely the top. And then I rode Elegant Fashion, the filly I took for the Cox Plate. As far as I know, I think she's the only filly to win the Hong Kong Derby for David Hayes. They brought her over specifically for that race. I mean, it's every owner's dream in Hong Kong to win the Derby. They don't care if your horse wins one race, they just want to win the Derby.
Yeah.
And then I rode a very good horse in America called Guided Tour. He won the Stephen Foster Handicap. I traveled with him from New Orleans to Woodbine in Chicago in the back of a horse box, you know, to go and run him there. He won the Canadian Bred Stakes there. He ran in the Breeders' Cup. So, I mean, it was a great experience to be associated with those sort of horses.
Sure, I mean, that experience, I mean, just traveling in the horse box, I mean, that was well worth it because, I mean, the horse won the race.
Yes.
Incredible.
Did any particular reason that, you know, you stuck to work riding? Why weren't you a professional jock?
Actually, when I was 16, I mean, I was really involved with the apprentices. As I said, I rode work every Saturday. I'd play squash with them, go to stables after school to watch my father's lesson, you know, so those era of jockeys or apprentices I knew really well. It's nice to see Daryl Daniels is still here. You know, I remember him in his second year at the academy. We were climbing down the cliff looking for this cave that the senior jockeys had told him there's a cave on the edge of the cliff, let's go and find it. So I decided when I was 16 I would like to join the academy. And my father always told me, you're going to be heavy. Okay. But I was walking around 52 kgs, naturally eating what I wanted. And at that time, the academy was taking 13, 14-year-olds, you know, and that was their rule. No. And then like 2 years later, they raised it. But then it was, no, we're not raising it to 17 now, you know, you're still got to be 14 or 15 or something. So I missed that opportunity, but I did try and go to America and think of getting an apprentice license there. But the trainer I worked for, again, he said, you're going to be heavy. Your dad wasn't naturally light. You know, I've heard stories about him running in his sweatsuit and my mother following him in the car in case he fainted. And so he said, why don't you rather travel with my horses? So I actually spent 6 months in America just flying from city to city. They would send the horse up, I'd rent a car, book into a hotel, and basically look after the horses for 2 weeks so they could have their race. Then after that, the boss would phone me, he says, I need you in New York, fly there.
Sure.
So I did that for 6 months. I mean, that was great.
I mean, you were in Hong Kong for quite a while. I mean, would you say that was your most successful and most enjoyable stint?
I still have my best feelings in America.
Sure.
You know, the racing and the atmosphere, okay? And whereas Hong Kong, to me, even the big races, it's just about money.
Right.
I still don't think their international meeting can compare to our July. I haven't been to the Met or the Summer Cup, but I've been to the July many times. Hong Kong's got more money than anyone else can compete with.
Yes.
And they bring in the best horses that they can and do everything they can to ensure they have a great meeting. But they don't have the atmosphere we have, so all America has.
Okay.
So that's why I'd say Hong Kong for the experience, but America, it's got both.
Are there any similarities when it comes to American racing and feature race days compared to the July?
I think America promotes it a lot more.
Sure.
I mean, I remember, because at least a week before the big race, our horses all had their saddle cloths with their name on, Breeders' Cup, you know, Breeders' Cup Mile, for example. So, I mean, that would be great if we could see that here. So a week, 2 weeks before the July or something, you know, if people are at the track, they can say, oh, that's...
Yes.
you know?
I think they have started with that, but it needs to be enforced a bit more, because it's, you know, it must maybe be a prerequisite that if you're going to run in the dry, you have to have your saddle cloth on. So yeah, it is a brilliant idea, and it's certainly something that is good. Just talking about America, I was out last night for supper, and I got back home and I battled to sleep. I put the TV on, and all on the TV at home is racing, like most of our homes. And I was watching a lot of American racing. It was slop, absolute slop.
Oh, yes.
And here, now what's the difference? I mean, you know, here tracks are different, I know, but they race in the slop there.
Well, I remember my dad actually asking me back in '99, what are their tracks like? Because, you know, actually in America, you've got to lead your horses around the track to get to the parade ring. So you're dressed up in your suit and your shoes, and you're trying to avoid the slop. They just race in it.
Okay.
You know, I mean, they do change the horseshoes and put toe grabs on.
Okay, that's interesting. Okay.
But apart from that, they race. The track doesn't matter if it's wet; they race in it.
Mitch, what is a toe grab?
So basically, your horseshoe, it's got like you could almost call it a stud.
Okay.
So it's an extension on the front of the toe of the horseshoe, that about a centimetre roughly. Okay. So it helps the horse's grip in that sand better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jeez, that's interesting, because I mean.
But when there's slop, there's a lot of kickback.
Yep, and they come back filthy. I mean, I've had to wash horses' eyes out after the races. You know, the jockeys at least wear those plastic vases, which I'm surprised they don't wear here on the poly track.
Yes.
Because, I mean, it's basically an extra screen that extends, you know, and in the last 200 or 300, you can just pull that down. You've still got your goggles on.
Yeah.
But you'll see the American jockeys will race with 5 goggles, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so interesting that slop. I saw it last night on TV, and I was quite taken aback. Why I mean, we're happy for us, but why? What made the move? Why are you back in South Africa?
I felt I'd spent enough time in Hong Kong, and probably the main reason was having children. I mean, Hong Kong, the money's great, the tax is low, everything's convenient, but as far as family life, you're very limited to what you can do. I mean, there were basically 2 places we could go camping at. The one place was great, we could park outside, but there'd be 50 people camping in the size of this hall here.
Okay,
you know,
sure.
that's how close you are. The other place was lovely on a beach, but to get there, you're either paying, for myself or my family, it would cost $1,000 one way on the speedboat, which is half an hour, or you take a taxi in and then you've got to hike another 40 minutes. Now, you can imagine hiking, carrying sleeping bags, air beds, snacks, spare clothes for a family with kids. I had a trolley and a backpack now to hike in. And So, I mean, that was difficult and hard work. And the summers there, you don't want to be outside, especially if you've got a lighter complexion like me. I mean, I burn easily under the sun. And my wife's Chinese, so she hates the sun. She doesn't want to tan at all. And, you know, with 99% humidity. So basically in summer, we look at, well, on Sunday, which shopping center are we going to?
Yeah.
So, okay, so for example, we've been to Sunlam, we've been to the Pavilion. Okay, we'll go to Gateway. But then now the next weekend, where do you go?
Yeah.
And when you go to a shopping center, yeah, you walk around. You're not going there to buy something.
Yeah.
You basically end up eating something. And then, so you're paying for your food. Then the parking's very expensive. Petrol's very expensive. There's normally tolls to get there. And it just repetitious, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Repetition all the time. And then winters there I loved because they were cooler. You could finally actually then do things outside. But
Interesting.
Summers, yeah.
no, summers, and I mean, now in summers where the racing season ends, that's typhoon season as well.
Okay.
I mean, I think in the last month, Hong Kong's had 3 typhoon warnings.
Sure.
You know, so again, then I don't like typhoons.
Okay.
Because no matter where you are in Hong Kong, you're not safe from them. I wouldn't
Sure.
say safe, but, you know, motorbikes blow over, branches break, and
Yes.
rooftop solar panels blow off, roads wash away, because the water's got to go somewhere.
Yeah,
Yes, yes.
absolutely.
So moving back here with the family, I thought it would be a great experience. I grew up here. I knew what a great time I had.
Sure.
So that was one thing for my children, to be able to spend time outside, because they're 6 years old, 11 years old, and 13 years old.
Yeah.
And then on top of it, Hong Kong's schooling system. Oh, it's basically on weekends you have to hire tutors, because now everyone's pushing for academic results. So maybe 4 children in the school will hire tutors
Okay.
to be the top of their class. But then now you've got to hire a tutor just so that your children can stay level with them.
Yeah, yeah.
And then they start pushing, oh, well, we get tutors on Sundays as well. I'm like, no, sorry, I don't do schoolwork on weekends. You know, I mean, I was doing an hour a night just to do my children's maths and English homework. And then my wife would take over the Chinese home. And then we're getting homework on weekends as well. And I said, no, that's for relaxing.
Yeah. Family
So,
time. We need
family
family
time.
time, absolutely.
And I mean, the stress on the children in Hong Kong, I mean, unfortunately, they've actually got one of the highest suicide rates in the world with children. Stress from school and stress from the parents.
Okay.
And my wife's also anti that.
Okay.
No, can do schoolwork Monday to Friday, weekends is for relaxing and having fun. So I mean, it was an easy decision coming back here.
Yeah. And was it easy just to settle back in? You found your feet relatively easy?
For me, I'm very familiar with the area, so it was. My wife's struggling a bit more because she's used to the shops closing at 11 o'clock at night, and there being a 7-Eleven on every corner, you know. And now we've got to get in and drive places, and obviously the safety here is a concern. I mean, Hong Kong, we can go walk out 9:30 at night if we want. No one's going to bother us.
What's it like? Just sorry.
No,
I mean,
carry on.
obviously you mentioned 7-Eleven. I mean, those convenience stores are just incredible. And I mean, it's a pity that we don't have anything similar to that in South Africa.
Yeah, I mean, they're great. I mean, the 7-Elevens, I mean, they offer anything from alcohol, chips, snacks, and even now they're cooking hot dogs and and little Chinese fast food that they do. I mean, they are a great convenience. Most of them have ATMs as well. So yeah.
So you can get a lot done in those 7-Elevens, absolutely. And Mitch, your family, I see you've got the 3 kids as you've mentioned, and your wife is Chinese. Where did you meet? At what part of your life's journey did you meet your wife?
I met her 10 years ago.
Okay.
Actually, there's a shopping centre directly opposite Charlton Racecourse. Obviously, go there for bread and milk and everything else I need. And there was a beauty salon in the centre itself, and a barber and a photo shop and that. So she actually worked next to the supermarket that I always used to go to, and there's a restaurant there. And Hong Kong offers very good lunch specials because people don't take lunch to work.
Okay.
Everyone, even the school children,
Oh, wow.
lunchtime, they go out for 2 hours. You'll see them,
Okay.
not at McDonald's.
Yeah.
They go to the restaurants for lunch specials, you know.
Fancy.
So, I mean, I met her at the restaurant there, and not being shy, I just asked her out, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And of course, cuisine, I mean, Chinese food, and we're so blessed to have all different, Indian cuisine, Mauritian cuisine. And I mean, you get obviously freshly made chow mein and all those wonderful things at home. How lucky are you?
Yes, I'm lucky. She spent time she worked in Japan as well. So she cooks Chinese food. She actually cooks a bit of Thai and Japanese.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah, no, she's very good at cooking. So I mean, I'm never going to be thin.
Well, and we know where to go to get a good chicken chow mein. I mean, that's fantastic. It's amazing how the wheel turns. That it goes full circle. Because tell the public, you've got a magnificent job now at the South African Jockey Academy. There's been huge changes within the industry and the academy. What do you do there? How do you do it? And why are you doing it?
Well, I guess it comes back to me enjoying my time being around horses and also watching young riders and seeing how they improve. And if you know something and you're good at something, you kind of feel it's your responsibility to give back and to help others where you can. So I'm working at the academy here with Nicky Rubak, who I know well, Rocky Agrella obviously, and Martin Ball. So the four of us are here, and at the moment we alternate between there's still some first years at the academy that have yet to come to the track, but will be soon, and then supervising the apprentices here. There's afternoon lessons, there's race reviews, there's pushing practice that we do on the track here. So we all sort of get around at least once a week and chat about what we plan for the following week and who needs to work on what. Yeah. Like yesterday, myself and Rocky were at Scottsville, and obviously having WhatsApp and Zoom, it's so easy for us to all, did you see that ride? Were you happy with that? What do you think he did wrong? Then, okay, we'll talk to him the next day, sit down with the apprentice and go through his rides to tell him what he did wrong or what he could have done better. So I mean, it's great having so many eyes on the apprentices.
Yeah. I mean, this current crop of apprentices, I mean, obviously different personalities. Has it been easy to be able to try and understand each one of them?
Well, I haven't been here long. I've just going on three months now, but yeah, spending time with them, seeing what they like at the stables, seeing the ones at the track, their work ethic and how they handle themselves at races, it definitely helps me understand each of them, and then we can focus on what their weaknesses are, and it's very easy for the apprentice to say, oh well, this trainer doesn't support me, so I don't want to ride for them. I say, no, well, you've got to understand there's a limited number of trainers here. I mean, even we get a trainer telling them, that's it, you messed up on that horse, don't come back for another month. And then we tell them, go back to him for second string. Yeah. Just show up every day, because it just takes one ride, one good ride, and then suddenly you're in with that stable.
Yeah. How do you mentioned you were at the races yesterday. Things happen in races. Jockeys can, drop their crops and drop their reins or whatever. But one of the apprentices from the academy, yesterday he lost his stick. And how would you remedy that? I mean, I know it's an accident, but how would you remedy that?
Well, we got to look at it, and obviously we watch the review a few times and sit with him, and to find out firstly why. And something like that, it could be he was trying to spin the whip when he wanted to change it. Well, you don't need to do that to change your whip.
Sure.
Rather just stick to the simple ways and, change it and then start hitting. You don't need to do anything flashy. Just get the job done. Yes. Once you're doing it right, then you can do the next step. Yes. Like a lot of them, we tell them, don't be so keen to go for your whip. Your whip's not a turbo. It's going to suddenly accelerate the horse, Main thing is keep your horse balanced, keep your horse straight, keep in rhythm. You can slap it down the neck or give it backhanders, because a lot of young, inexperienced apprentices, when they go to pull the stick, then they lose focus on other things.
Yes, sure.
So,
in your opinion, is there a place for the stick? There's that debate, stick, no stick. How do you feel about it?
I think there's a place for it, but obviously there should be rules to control it.
Yeah.
I mean, if if they suddenly took away the whips, well, racing would still go ahead.
Yes.
You know, horses would still be winning without it.
Yeah.
You know, so
Good point. Yeah,
What's it like taking these young apprentices through the whole inquiry and suspension process? Because I mean, I'm sure for a number of them it could be quite intimidating.
it is, and that's why when they go in, one of the riding masters will be with them and watch it. Then sometimes you go outside and talk to them first.
Yeah.
You know, to say, listen, I don't think you've got any grounds here. Just accept.
Yes.
But other times, you know, if you're right or if you feel that you did everything you could, well then either we or they need to state it and stand up and say, well, no, look, I did actually stop riding and try to straighten my horse and then started, and then the horse shifted again. You know,
Yeah.
I showed you that I tried to straighten the horse at least.
Yeah. And when it comes to something like an objection, I mean, because obviously, I mean, they're not too familiar with how the whole process does go. I mean, is there often a riding master that talks them through it and to try and fight their case?
Yes, always. There's always a riding master with them, you know, because obviously with their experience, they would have seen it. And the great thing being in the stamps room, you got different angles that you can watch.
Sure.
And so you can really talk them through it.
Oh, interesting.
Discipline, you know, you'll speak to mom and dad, and we'll talk about Lorna in a moment, but discipline back then to discipline and now. Firstly, how does dad see the big contrast, and how do you deal with it? Because now you're having to discipline jockeys to say what they've done wrong, and what they don't always like advice. You know, people don't always like to be told what they've done wrong. How does it get received nowadays?
It's a difficult one because yes, I mean, unlike other sports, I mean, Roger Federer will have a coach and he'll have a manager.
Sure.
You know, whereas jockeys, maybe they'll have an agent, but they won't have a coach or someone to manage them to say, hey, listen, I've noticed you doing this wrong, you know. Whereas we go and tell the apprentices, listen, you're doing this wrong, and sometimes they want to take it as being offensive then. I'm saying, no, we're just trying to point out where the mistakes were, how you can fix it, and then improve on that so it doesn't happen again.
I mean, your job, and the job is, you know, the team, the wonderful team that the Academy has around the country, and we'll talk about that as well just now, is, you know, their job is to enhance and to grow.
Absolutely.
I mean, you wake up in the morning, you know, you don't want to go and bring anybody down. As you say, they need to understand that it's for them to progress, because when you see a champion jockey, you know, that's been through the Academy, it's job well done.
Job well done, and you know, the jockeys or apprentices, obviously they'll thank their sponsors and they'll thank the trainer that they rode for and thank the owners, but a lot of times they forget how they got there and who helped get them there. You know,
Absolutely.
so I mean, yeah, we are there to help them and we want to see them succeed.
What is it that you look for, you know, when you're doing all your training, etc.? What qualities, or what is it, what makes you think or say to yourself, hang on, there's talent there?
I like to see an apprentice, firstly, they've got to have a good attitude and they must have a good work ethic. You know, someone that can, it definitely helps if you can speak well, but it's not a prerequisite. But then I like someone that's got good balance, someone that can sit still on a horse, someone that's got nice soft hands, you know, because you want the horses to relax under you. You don't want to be hard on them. You know, as we've seen with Pierre Stradham, how often does he use the whip? And how many times in a race does he use it? It's not necessary. He's well balanced. He gets everything he can out of the horses without using the whip, or he uses it the last 100 or the last 50. So the apprentice has got to be well-rounded, you know, level-headed.
Are you happy with your stock at the moment? There's some talent.
We've definitely got some talent. I think this season will be interesting for us, you know, because some of our older, more senior apprentices, now they're losing their cane, reducing their cane, and now the younger ones are coming up and starting to get a couple of winners on the board. So I think it'll be an interesting season.
We often hear the term soft hands. I mean, is it a term for those that are unaware? I mean, is it as easy as just being more gentle with the horse? It
is being more gentle, but it's also having that feeling in your hands. You can feel what the horse is giving you through your hands.
Sure.
You know, it's like if you run with shoes on and you run with barefoot, you can feel so much more barefoot, you know, if you've got soft. So if you've got soft hands, you can really feel that horse through the reins. You know what you've got left underneath you. If you're able to get that horse to relax during the race, you know, there's certain jockeys that you never see horses pulling with them.
Yeah.
You know,
Is it possible for, you know, in the beginning process, where you may say, this chap or this lady's not going to make it, you know, they just haven't got what it is, etc., and it gets off to a shaky start, and it actually turns. They end up learning how to ride. I mean, you know, have there been those cases where it's gone from shocking to actually ended up being a good success story?
well, one example for me, and I'm actually friendly with him, but Warren Kennedy never showed much in the beginning.
He used to battle to get rides in PE.
Well, he got sent to PE because he was struggling here, you know, but he never gave up. He had great work ethic, he spoke nicely, he was always respectful to the trainers, and he just kept showing up, putting the work in, kept trying, and things started to click, and then they took off. And I mean, look where he is now.
Yeah,
Sure.
that's,
Incredible.
it's a great story, as you know.
It's not how you start. That just goes to show. I mean, how it starts doesn't matter. I mean, that's hard work, perseverance, dedication.
Yeah.
That's actually what matters
Yes.
in this game.
Yeah, absolutely. How approachable are you, Mitch? You know, at the academy. I mean, open door policy. You there for anyone?
Open door policy, I mean, I'll speak to the appies whenever I can, or, you know, I'll chat to them and say, what happened on that horse? Why was it slow away? You know, to find out from their perspective what happened, because we can only see so much on the cameras, you know. So yeah, they know I'm very approachable and always willing to help.
Kalinda Austin. Now, that was breaking news and wonderful news. There's never been a female riding master, but there is now in Cape Town. Tell us more.
Well, I don't actually know Kalinda at all. I met her, we were here for a week together as part of our introduction.
Right.
I think she'll be a very good asset to the academy, especially with having more girls coming through the system. I think she's very energetic and eager to help and to lend a hand. So definitely a good asset for us to have. You know, and again, you're getting different set of views. We might see things one way when she'll see it another way.
Sure.
How many riding masters are there in the country?
In the country, so there's 6 of us. There's 4 here in Durban, Kalinda in Cape Town, and the national riding master, Robert Moore, in Johannesburg.
Is Dad still involved with the academy?
Dad's still involved. He's, I think, technically a consultant to the academy, advisor to me, you know. I mean, always available, you know.
Did Mom have a role at the academy at any stage?
Mom worked for the academy for about 22 years.
Okay, sure.
She did a lot of admin work, and then also when the equestrian side of the academy started, my mother was a stable manager there.
Okay, excellent. So it was inevitable. I mean, this is
Yeah, it was a
racing
certainty.
horses in the blood. You know, it's.
I mean, the one thing that you did touch on briefly, I mean, early on, your sister and Ryan, I mean, you do have siblings. I mean, talk us through them and them not actually being part of the industry now.
Well, we all grew up riding ponies and doing show jumping, and my sister got her colours, Natal colours, my brother got his Natal colours. Yeah, but I think once they got older, you know, my brother wanted to travel and go work overseas, so he ended up going to England for 2 years, left horses. My sister also rode until she was 16 or 17, and then dating starts, and you know, and you lose time and focus. I mean, actually, my brother's son, so my nephew Tyler, he's actually studying now to be a farrier. He's working here in Summerveld.
Okay.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Sure.
What's been the biggest change that you've noticed from, you know, back those days, the academy to the industry? I mean, to you coming back to SA, what have you noticed being the biggest change?
I think with the industry, the biggest change I've seen is less people on course.
Okay.
You know, obviously it's so much easier and more convenient to sit at home and bet from your phone or through an app. There's a lot less jockeys riding work now, I notice. You know, I mean, there are still the regulars I see every morning, but yeah, I mean, I think that's a disadvantage for our apprentices, because even when I started, I rode a lot for Tony Finesse, and Douglas White and Robbie Fred were riding for him at the time. So I got to gallop and ride with them every single morning.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you always need someone to look up to.
Yeah.
You know, so it helps if you've got that sort of quality of riders that your apprentices are riding with every morning. It definitely helps them, and they're giving advice all the time because they're seeing them ride.
Yeah, yeah. Do you have any hobbies besides horses and racing? Are you a soccer fan?
I don't like watching that sport where people fall down and claim they're injured and then jump up 5 seconds. I can't stand that.
You seem like you're quite an outdoor person.
Yes, I love watching cricket, especially the T20 format. I've got a caravan. I take my family camping. My dad goes fishing with us. I like motorcycles a lot. On-road, off-road, doesn't matter as long as it's motorcycle. Yeah, so I like being outdoors and relaxing, yeah.
Dad was very instrumental in Richard Ferree's career, was he not?
That's correct. If I remember correctly, Richard was struggling here in Durban for a while. So they sent him to Cape Town. And I still remember Richard and his agent coming to speak to my father, and Richard's agent at the time was saying, listen, if Richard gets out of hand, put him in his place. You know, he needs that. And my father was always very good at, you know, instilling that respect and, you know, just workmanship. You know, and Richard, I mean, he did very well for himself. My dad picked him early on, said he would be very, very good, and he's definitely lived up to those expectations. Richard did very well. I think he had the record for the most winners for a first season jockey in Hong Kong.
Okay,
you know.
Okay.
But I think the fishing in South Africa lured Richard back. I think that's why he came back to South Africa.
Great fisherman,
yes.
absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, look what he went to do. I mean, 2 seasons back. I mean, setting the record. I mean, will anyone? I mean, for you as a riding master, looking at that record, I mean, it's a massive task. If anyone's gonna go and beat that,
it's a massive task, and I mean, it's very taxing on the jockey itself. I mean, I still remember when Anthony won for the first time, and he was saying, you know, where's the life, the family life? You're traveling every single day.
Yeah.
You might see your wife and kids for a few hours if you're lucky, but that's a full year that you're giving up of your family life. That so you can just travel every day and get those winners in, and it's very hard on the body.
Yeah, it certainly is. I mean, we were actually just talking this morning about, you know, everyone's role. It's tough, you know, in life it's tough. When we're talking about our industry, you know, whether you're shoeing horses, whether you're training horses, whether you're riding horses, whether you're owning horses, it's tough. You know, everyone has their role to play, and it's a very special industry. And I'm so glad that we're able to broadcast our product through SABC to showcase it to the world.
Yes.
And to showcase, because it's a beautiful industry. It's a tough industry, but it is a great industry, and the more that can learn about it, the better.
Yes, definitely.
So we haven't got a Liverpool supporter at the table.
no, that's all right. That's fine. I'm the only one, and that's all right. That's all right.
But Mitch, I mean, what a great story, and just wonderful to learn about your journey, and thank you for sharing that with us, and we wish you all the very best at the South African Jockey Academy. There's big changes, as we've said, in the industry, and we're only on the upward trajectory, and it's just great, and we look forward to watching all this young talent.
Yes, I'm definitely looking forward to this season. I said it'll be very interesting, watching the apprentices go against each other, and, you know, watching the jockey challenge as well.
Yeah.
Is there any apprentice that we can keep an eye on?
I personally like Design Low.
Sure.
I think he's very well rounded. He gets around a lot in the morning. He's putting the work in.
Okay.
So I like him at the moment.
Okay. Yeah.
There are some others, but he's
Sure,
the one that
sure,
stands out.
Absolutely. And of course, Olisium Buta, I mean,
Yes.
he's also
Yeah, fabulous last season.
fabulous. And in fact, I think you were telling me there's 14, he had 14 winners.
Brevin as well.
Brevin as well.
He tied with Brevin, I think, for Durban wins
Yes.
last season.
Isn't
Yes.
it amazing how something tweaked in your career? I mean, Brevin was ticking along and then moved to Cape Town, or what? Just turned him
Yes.
around.
Well, actually, my dad went and set up Cape Town back in April,
Okay.
and he went there with Brevin and Safiso, and my dad spent 3 months helping to set that up and get that established before Kalinda came on board. So after he had achieved that, you know, and then he came back to Durban, relaxing again.
Well, I'm sure Mom and Dad are thrilled to have you back here with the grandkids, and you know, I'm sure they're loving every second of it.
Yes, it definitely seems so. I mean, hopefully they can watch the kids a bit more on the weekends, so I can go riding.
No, lovely, Mitch. All the best to you and to everyone at the South African Jockey Academy around the country. It's a huge part of our industry, and there's absolutely no doubt it's in good hands. So thanks for your time.
Thank you. Thanks. Good seeing you again.
Yeah, lovely, fantastic. Well, that's it. That's Mitch.
Yeah, very
what a
interesting.
journey. What a journey. I mean, the man's traveled.
Been around the world.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
he's been around the world, and he's been around the world successfully too. That's a wrap from all of us. We hope you enjoyed this show, and yeah, lots to look forward to within South African racing. From Warren Inferno, Raheel Radhakrishna, Mitch Curtis, I nearly said Vince Curtis, but a shout out to Vince, and of course to Lorna. Wonderful chatting and being with your son. That's it. Be safe, be kind, and as always, we will see you in the number 1 box.